Hello all and welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. Thank you again for the love and support on the most recent video. I seriously appreciate it. This video is that much anticipated interview update with Stader Labs, talking about where we've come from, what they've been up to, and what the plans are for the future, as well as the much anticipated transition across to native/protocol staking on Hedera, and how and why the Stader Labs HBARX token is still of great value to the ecosystem going forward, particularly as we see a expansion of decentralized finance applications and exchanges built on top of Hedera. So, as we said before, thank you again, 値𝗟𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦, for coming back on here and sort of having a chat with me about Stader so far and what's happening in the future. It's obviously been a wild ride at the moment on Hedera, and that will continue. Let's give a sort of quick recap of what's happened so far. So obviously we've gone through staking, then we had the sort of V2 rollout for unstaking. We've had sort of TVL that's continued to grow. What were your kind of thoughts on it and the whole process and journey so far for the platform?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having us again. Always, love our chats, and there's always some interesting questions in there. So looking forward to it as well. And thanks everyone for tuning in as well. And thanks for all the support. So yeah, like you said, it's been a while, right? So we started with V1, got a great reception. We went on to V2, which kind of covers the basic liquid staking aspects and features of our product. And what we were talking about last time happened pretty much the same, but probably with less intensity. That folks did unstake a little bit, tested out the functionality, saw that they were getting their HBAR back, no problem. And then, quickly sort of realized that this is still the best thing to do with their HBAR, and the TVL started going back up again. So that's sort of played out based on what we discussed. I think now, looking to the future, it's always upwards and onwards from here, which for us means fixing some things on the house. We're rolling out a new UI, which is very focused on DeFi opportunities which are coming up on Hedera, and we can talk about that. So in preparation of that, we're rolling out a new UI very soon. It's in beta testing right now. And we'll continue to partner with new and DeFi protocols coming up on the network to sort of make sure that we build the network up for the ecosystem. And lastly, it's about integrating with protocol staking. So those are our 2 or 3 major sort of focus areas.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. As we sort of alluded to, or you alluded to, that hockey stick where people obviously unstaked to test the features, realized it was all absolutely fine. They got their rewards and then they jumped back in. Actually, looking on DeFi Llama at the moment, 683 million HBAR, which is around $50 million US in the Stader pools at the moment. So obviously a crazy amount of HBAR. It's done incredibly well over that sort of time period. That new user interface as well. Sorry, go on, 値𝗟𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗦.
No. I was just making a point, right? So I think when we started building, if you were to take prices, then this would be around double or even 2.5 times that number in dollar terms. And I think that's important because the market will keep sort of going up and down. But what we really pride ourselves on is the 12,000 users that we've been able to get, right? It's not one person putting in 200 million HBAR that's making this protocol, right? It's really a collective that has been built on the ecosystem, and that's what makes us proud. And I think it's an important thing to highlight.
Yeah, 100% completely agree with you. Yeah, and obviously we saw that massive milestone as well of Hedera reaching over 1 million sort of wallets or accounts on the mainnet, which was brilliant. Yep. And that's obviously then again reflected in the user growth that you guys have seen. And there's a lot of love and support for your platform sort of effectively, which is also why it's done really well. And you guys have obviously built that really critical infrastructure when there wasn't any alternative. You really filled that gap nicely in a very, very solid manner. I mean, talking to that as well, obviously you mentioned that new interface. I sent some tweets out, obviously retweeted some of your stuff, and then I think I even had it in a video. It looks amazing. And I saw that you've got on that left-hand sidebar obviously your new sort of DeFi features. Have you guys got any sort of plans or things you're working on behind the scenes, like additional features you're going to be offering to that Stader interface going forward?
Yeah. So absolutely. So I think one was just to kind of go to a more modern look and just more minimalist and kind of cleaning up the user experience. And the other real aspect was to go towards having dedicated sections for DeFi, right? Because we're seeing DEXs coming up, and we'll be live on Saucer as soon as they launch with our tool as well. But there are more and more of DeFi protocols and DEXs coming up, and we want to be prepared for that. And the idea is that we've built this community that is coming onto our dApp and looking to stake and unstake and participate. And we really want to make sure that they have ample opportunity to look at all of the options that are available with their HBARX, right? So the idea is that we host, or we at least have links to some of the options and DeFi opportunities that users can use on the dApp itself, so that folks don't have to navigate. And from a security point of view as well, those links will be the real ones. So the looking down the line, folks can sort of have a clear path of going to these opportunities.
I really like that idea. So you guys are basically building obviously a refreshed interface, but it's going to act like a hub, almost a hub for DeFi, with all the real sort of links, because obviously that's becoming more and more of a problem as Hedera gains more exposure. Obviously we're seeing, slightly more sort of shady things happen on Hedera, so people obviously have to be safe, and you guys have obviously got that nice check mark against your name. So providing that facility for the end user is obviously brilliant. I really like that approach. I think that's really cool. Obviously, you mentioned as well, obviously, SaucerSwap, you guys have obviously been working behind the scenes. I heard that you're providing, obviously, liquidity for when it goes live on Friday for one of those pools. I say, is that just the HBARX source pool, or?
Yeah. So, it's the main pool is HBAR,
yeah.
Right? And we're going to be providing a little bit of liquidity, but we actually want users to come in and get those rewards, the really nice rewards that Saucer is offering, and also in the process, gain a real-time understanding of how powerful a liquid staking token can be by using it in one DeFi opportunity, right? So we're not going to crowd out the pool. It's just going to be a small amount to just get everything started, and then the idea is that folks should get on the bandwagon and use this opportunity to kind of start to appreciate how powerful this could be once we have all of these aspects or building blocks of DeFi figured out.
Yeah, amazing. No, again, a really sensible approach. I think everyone that's probably watching this video and has interacted and is using Stader at the moment, obviously, no, you guys don't do anything by half measures. Everything is sort of calculated and done in the best way possible. Which again is sort of brilliant to see. So that's the kind of where we've come from. So the past, we've rolled out, TVLs continue to grow. The support for the platform and user accounts has been brilliant. So we've had some really nice rewards. You guys are looking now to join that next leap into DeFi with platforms like SaucerSwap and any future DEXs and dApps that come out. Looking forward then, one of the big turning points over the last sort of couple of days or so is you guys released the reward schedule for August. Obviously, we spoke about how many people sort of believed that the end of July was going to be the sort of cut-off date for those high rewards, and then we'd see the APYs drop significantly. But you guys have got another plan of attack effectively for August. So would you like to kind of explain that, the reasoning behind it, why you're doing it, and sort of how it's going to function?
Yeah. So like we sort of mentioned even in our first conversation, right? So we kind of think of the whole staking infrastructure in sort of two aspects, right? So we were building the demand side of the infrastructure, where token holders come and allocate their tokens, and we stake on their behalf. And the supply side of the infrastructure is the protocol staking that's going to get built in phases, which will ultimately complete when the rewards actually come from the nodes themselves and transactions being processed on the nodes, right? So we kind of did the first bit well, where we kind of created demand and got a lot of education around staking and liquid staking, right? And now the idea is to kind of go into this soft landing phase, where we merge ourselves with protocol staking, and the reward starts to flow from there. Which, by the way, is the model on every other major network, right? On every other major network, protocol staking or plain staking exists, and also liquid staking exists, and that's because liquid staking provides certain advantages over protocol staking, which are obviously instant liquidity. You can get out of your position, you can participate in DeFi, right? And there are some automations there like auto compounding, etc., that you can also do. But yeah, so I think that's the phase we are in right now. We need to nail this soft landing, keeping the enthusiasm and the sort of push behind liquid staking going, and that's kind of very, very important for the entire DeFi ecosystem as well, right? Because now, if say a DEX or a lending protocol looks at the Hedera ecosystem, they see us having our 700 odd million HBAR staked in 3-4 months, and that creates a sense of sort of, hey, we build this to go along with HBARX. We can kind of get a big part of the market, right? And similarly, that expands other possibilities for new developers and new builders to come onto the network, and that's what we're really trying to kickstart.
100%. That's again like another brilliant way to kind of approach it, and it puts a lot of people's minds at ease as to what's going to be happening, and so you guys give very clear timelines to that. In terms of those rewards, then was it 600,000 HBAR per epoch for the first week, and then it reduced every 7 days, was it, roughly, from memory?
Yeah. It reduces every 7 days by 25,000. Right, and we obviously at the back end, we're working furiously to kind of integrate and sort of see how we can make this as seamless as possible with as little step jumps. But there might be some further down the line. But the idea is to kind of land this softly from a absolute rewards perspective by growing the TVL and getting more and more use cases through the door.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess the question a lot of people will be asking as well is because obviously throughout up until the end of July, we knew all those rewards were being provided by those initial grants from the HBAR Foundation. Is that still the case for August? Is this some leftover HBAR that wasn't emitted from the HBAR Foundation?
Yeah. So we obviously partner very, very closely with the HBAR Foundation, right? So all of what I'm telling you in terms of plans, etc., have been discussed with them and sort of aligned way back, right? So currently it's being provided by the foundation. The idea of the soft landing will be that we will kind of integrate with protocol staking, and at some time slowly the contribution of the foundation will keep on decreasing, and the contribution from protocol staking will keep on increasing, and we land at a stable kind of level. Right. So that's the plan.
Yeah. So we're looking for that sort of intersection point, slowly ramp down the subsidized rewards until we hit the sort of main net transaction rewards from protocol staking in that sort of integration.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you guys said.
That's the plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Plan on paper. Yeah. We'll see kind of how it goes, but I think it'll be fairly successful anyway. And obviously, no fault of your own anyway, if there's obviously issues along the way. Obviously, we're waiting for those phase 3 rewards. We still don't quite know, do we, from Hedera / the HBAR Foundation themselves as to when they'll sort of go live. We know that mainnet account 0.0800 has obviously now been funded by the foundation. But obviously there's still some other phases to be hit there along the way until we sort of see that happen. And
I think, it just sort of a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's important for users to also understand that staking is very, very fundamental to the way POS systems work, right? So it's not something that, the foundation or even the network folks are taking very lightly. So it has to be done right? Even if it's done a little bit later. Hopefully we'll get there soon.
Yeah, definitely. Particularly with other things happening on other networks at the moment. For example, Solana having issues, obviously security and stuff is of course very important. And if that means something gets delayed, that's what happens, right? To ensure people don't have major issues down the line. Really, really important. So, I mean, that's kind of the journey so far of Stader. We've seen some fantastic APYs over the months that it's been live, and obviously people have enjoyed some really great rewards. Obviously, you touched on it sort of a minute ago in one of the previous questions, but the other thing, obviously, I keep seeing in comments and people asking sort of on Twitter threads is then, okay, what's the point of Stader's platform, the HBARX token, once the merge with the contract or the protocol staking or native staking takes place? Why would I use HBARX over just say native staking in a wallet?
Oh, yeah, interesting question, but just a little bit of more context on the market. So this sort of dual type of staking exists pretty much in every network out there, right? So every major network has protocol staking or plain staking, and then they have liquid staking on top of it. Typically, the plain staking part or protocol staking part gets made first, liquid staking part gets made later. It's just been the other way around on Hedera, right? And this was always the plan, right? So if you look at HBARX, it's ultimately a derivative of HBAR, right? So if you say, for example, go for plain staking, your HBAR is locked in terms of it can only be used in plain staking. Here you can get HBARX and get those rewards, which will be slightly higher than plain staking or a little bit higher than plain staking, but also participate in opportunities in DeFi, right? So as more and more DeFi protocols kind of come up, like 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 and like the others, it's going to become very apparent on the differences that are there between, say, HBARX and plain staking, and it's also going to be very apparent on the difference in sort of yield that folks can make, of course, in context with their risk profile.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Of course, risk profiles are very important. And it's something actually that I think I mentioned to you before we just sort of started this interview recording. It's something that hopefully I should be able to show when I do a sort of video on SaucerSwap. It'll become very apparent very quickly the power of a liquid token and what you're able to do with sort of like doubling up of rewards and sort of boosting those rewards by utilizing it. So that should become apparent, in the next couple of days, I think, as to why I've seen
to start of it.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as those DEXs start coming online and we see the rollout and the adoption take place, that liquid staking token will be of major use, similar to how it's been of major use on Binance Smart Chains and stuff like that in the past for some of those crazy yield farming sort of protocols that we've seen over the years. Which is, again, brilliant.
Hopefully we'll have some fun with it.
Yes, exactly. 100%, definitely. So I guess that kind of brings us up to sort of today then and what we'll be seeing in the future. Is there anything that you kind of want to add? Anything else you guys have got in the sort of works for Hedera? How have sort of things been going so far?
Yeah. So I think that's on our end, right? But I think one of the things that we are also kind of taking very seriously is to take like a leading role in making sure that the ecosystem grows as well, right? So we're one of the founding members of the DeFi Alliance, which has ourselves, 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥, and is led by Stader Hedera. And the idea there is essentially to make sure that there are certain common standards and protocols that are there, which help developers ramp up faster and get to users better in the future, right? So this could be things like standard things on, how do you manage user funds, security best practices that should be followed by each builder. It could be best practices around community management. It could just be a place for people to ask questions from fellow developers, right? But the idea is to make sure that we have a common set of standards and a place from which somebody who's looking to build on Hedera DeFi can come in and get their protocol up and running faster and not have to kind of go through the entire journey themselves, right? So that's one of the more important things. The other one is, of course, like you alluded to, as the network is expanding and the TVL is kind of growing and more use cases are popping up, it's important to educate users on the risks associated with participating in some of these opportunities, but also make sure that they are aware of the best practices that they need to follow on their side in terms of security, right? Because DeFi has many advantages of being sort of permissionless and decentralized, it does mean that users need to manage their own security more than they would with a centralized bank.
Completely.
Right? And it's important that this is the right stage where we kind of collectively as an ecosystem set some of the best practices in place so that new users do not have a bad experience.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. And I'd actually almost forgotten about that alliance that you guys obviously formed, but it's a fantastic way to ensure that the user experience and the safety is sort of guaranteed by anyone that decides to sort of ask for your help or, speak to you guys about practices. Like you said, it's a great way to ensure that all those different channels operate in a similar way. And obviously it's something that I'm sure me and you and the rest of your team and stuff and others in the space will be talking about a lot more in the future, particularly as Hedera continues to expand. I think people are going to have to be a little bit more careful than they have been so far with using platforms and products and stuff. Nature of the beast, isn't it? As you said, it's just the nature of being in a permissionless sort of ecosystem.
Yeah, and I think the education is the only way forward, right? We need to make sure that we help folks come onto the community and have a good experience, and that's how we'll all grow together.
Definitely, 100%. Well, amazing. Really sort of enjoyed the conversation again. Great to hear about what's happening and how you guys are going to be transitioning across into the sort of native staking as it comes online. If there's nothing else that you guys kind of want to say, I think we should probably end it here. Otherwise, the viewers are going to have quite a lengthy video. We're at sort of 20 minutes. So
no, just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks to you for having us, and keep the conversation going on TG and all the socials. We love to hear from you guys, and that sort of inspires us to build better products.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I think everyone loves the Stader platform. It's almost synonymous at this point anyway with sort of Hedera and the very early days of sort of DeFi. And obviously you guys will be around for a long time. So we're all sort of growing together, which is brilliant. And I look forward to us having another conversation, hopefully sometime in the future, about what's happening next and the newest things.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.